Good morning, Living Waters. Welcome back. Thanks for showing up and caring. That's our theme for the week, if you can catch that. So, showing up and caring, or giving a darn, or giving whatever language you like. An effort? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to turn to 1 Kings chapter 19. We've used this chapter before, but not this section. We jumped over this section. And I think it has a poignant understanding for how to show up and care for us and how God does it. Because God does this all the time in Scripture. But disciples, sometimes it's what it comes down to. Just show up and care. All right, so, two-step formula. It's amazing the power of being present with someone and actually caring about them resonates. It's amazing how little people get that in their lives, sadly. But here we are. Chapter 19, verses 11 through 13. This is Elijah's meeting God at Horeb. He's on the run. We talked about this with the cake and stuff before. This is a different part of it now. Got to go out and stand on the mountain before the Lord. For the Lord is about to pass by. Now there was a great wind, so strong that it was splitting mountains, breaking rocks in pieces before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire either. And after the fire, a sound of sheer silence. Elijah heard he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. And then there came a voice that said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" It's interesting. Sometimes I think we get this impression God needs to be present in the big, dramatic ways. The rock-splitting wind, the shaking it up, the earthquake, right? The passion, the great fire, right? All these ways. And God does show up in these ways. But God doesn't always show up in those ways. Sometimes God cares about us and shows up in the times of silence, quiet. You know, as my beloved wife is an introvert, I think she likes this passage in that God operates in the quiet too. It's not always in the upfront, the spotlight, the out loud, the big dramatic moment. God's in the little spaces in between things in our lives. When there's nothing, there's always God. I also hear that, and I always think of the song, "Sound of Silence." Like that is where God is present. When I was doing my chaplaincy training, every seminarian in the ELCA has to do this to graduate, get a Master's of Divinity, become a pastor. Okay, with the whistle there. Part of our training is we have to do a certain number of hours of chaplaincy training. And one of the biggest lessons my mentor taught me that I always appreciated was learning to sit with people, which in the chaplaincy setting, people in need, might be dying, might be most likely one of the worst days of their life. People that the gut instinct might be to jump, to want to say the right thing, to have some uplifting pomp and circumstance, some big moments, whatever. But my mentor, she always taught me that the most powerful thing often is being able to be with them, be present with them, to show up and care about them with silence. And to be comfortable with that. I have to tell you, it drove me nuts at first. I get used to it. Our culture doesn't like silence, but there's power in it. God dwells there. And sometimes it's not the right thing we say, or sometimes it's just being present, maybe a hand on a shoulder, praying with them even in the silence. It matters. God does it in Scripture. When Elijah needs help, God does it in our lives too. Maybe we're called for that as well. We don't have to be dramatic and loud and expressive and always have the right thing to say. So, my friends, I end our time together with silence.